A married couple is excitedly decorating a nursery at the beginning of the film because they are expecting a child. The couple is made up of Sarah, a professor of mathematics, and her husband John, an architect. The following day, we find out that Alyssa, John's ex-girlfriend, is employed there. He declines her request to accompany him to the new house showing that day, making it obvious that their relationship is over. Sarah is playing the piano at home when she suddenly experiences a sharp pain in her stomach. She frantically calls for her husband, but he is preoccupied with clients and doesn't pick up. John rushes to the hospital as soon as he notices his wife's deluge of missed calls, only to be devastated to learn that Sarah has lost the baby. A few days later, the scene shifts to show that the couple is still having a hard time dealing with their terrible loss and that the nursery room is now only causing them excruciating agony. They decide to move out after Sarah says she can't stay in this house any longer, and John fully understands. After that, the couple starts looking for a new house, but even after a month, they are still unable to locate one that suits them. Eventually, their realtor suggests that they meet with one of her friends who has lived in the town for a long time and is familiar with every property in the area. The next scene shows the couple arriving at an opulent mansion far from the city, where they are greeted warmly by a man named Emmett. The couple that he spent almost 10 years perfectly restoring and renovating the mansion, which was first constructed in 1918. The stunning property instantly impresses the couple, and Emmett extends an invitation to stay for dinner and music, stating that he wants to learn more about them. After a few drinks, Emmett tells them that he can perform a version of Welcome to the Jungle with just his nipples. After a few more drinks, Emmett gives the couple a private tour of the mansion, which is filled with numerous antique objects, including several antique weapons. By night's end, John has consumed too much alcohol and is hardly able to operate a vehicle. The couple accepts Emmett's invitation to stay the night. Additionally, he guarantees that he has located the ideal home for them and that they will talk about it in the morning. When the couple awakens the following morning, they are unable to locate Emmett. Rather, they find a letter he left behind. He discloses in it that he wants to give them his mansion at no cost, but only under certain restrictions. The cellar door must never be opened. A new life in such an opulent mansion seems like a small price to pay. Sarah is incredibly thrilled by this, but John is dubious and says it's too good to be true. But after spending all of their savings on IVF, his wife explains that this location might offer them another opportunity to try for a child. After a heated argument between the couple, John ultimately agrees. Their realtor soon shows up to prepare the contract documents and wish them luck. The couple eventually relocates to their new home, and they appear to be thrilled to be residing in a mansion that they could never have afforded. A few days later, they host a housewarming party where a number of friends and co-workers show up, including Alyssa, John's ex, even though Sarah is not aware of their past. Alyssa approaches John during the celebration and tries to woo him, but he firmly declines her advances and expresses his lack of interest. Soon after, a crazy man shows up at the house with a can of gasoline, abruptly ending the celebration. Everyone is shocked by his insistence that they burn the entire place down before it destroys them. But before John can ask any more questions, the man abruptly walks away without saying anything more, leading the couple to believe he is insane. Honey, he simply spends too much time on Twitter. When John gets to work the following day, he finds out that Alyssa has accused him of harassment. The irate man returns home, but he doesn't tell his wife what happened because John has been suspended from until the issue is looked into. In the days that follow, Sarah departs for work, and John learns several times during the day to listen to music that helps him relax. When he is by himself at home, he notices the cellar door and becomes curious about what's inside. He reaches for a tool and tries in vain to open the door. John leaves Alyssa a voicemail the following day requesting that she give him a call back. Then he notices a secret door in the house, and his curiosity compels him to investigate further. He visits the city archives and requests the mansion's blueprint. There, an employee discloses a startling fact. Paul McManus, not Emmett, was the mansion's former owner. 25 years ago, Emmett lived there, but one night his wife fled in the middle of the night with their 5-year-old daughter. Nobody has seen them since. When John gets home, he looks over the blueprint and is certain that the secret passage goes straight to the cellar. He then opens it. He eventually finds a barred door leading into the cellar after crawling inside the small crawl space. In order to see what's behind the door, he starts drilling a hole. But before he can finish, he rushes back upstairs as soon as he hears Sarah's car pulling up. Alyssa calls John that evening and requests that they meet, telling telling him that she will be waiting for him at their favorite spot. John tells Alyssa that he doesn't understand why this is her favorite spot or why she has defamed him when they meet in an underground parking lot as planned. Then, accusing him of leading her on while promising to divorce his wife, she calls him a liar. When it is revealed that they have been having an affair behind Sarah's back, John admits his guilt but makes it plain that he will not divorce his wife. John threatens to kill Alyssa if she approaches his wife after she threatens to tell Sarah everything. The following day, Sarah is at home by herself when she suddenly feels queasy while John is out for a run. She chooses to take a pregnancy test, and when the results are positive, she is ecstatic. But when she discovers the house's blueprints beneath the bed and goes to the cellar, her happiness soon wanes. Alyssa is approaching the house at the same moment with the intention of telling Sarah everything. She walks in without knocking and is extremely upset to see photos of Sarah and John on the wall. She is further distressed when she enters the nursery and discovers the positive pregnancy test. When Sarah arrives at the locked cellar door, she discovers that her husband has been making fruitless attempts to open it. When she eventually goes back upstairs after hearing noises, she finds Alyssa nowhere and only notices that the front door is ajar. When John sees Alyssa's car leaving the house on his way home, he becomes concerned and starts driving after her. When John returns home later that evening, Sarah tells him the pregnancy outcome, which makes him very happy. But when she finds out that he was attempting to enter the cellar, she is upset. So John apologizes and makes a promise that it won't happen again. In order to reassure Sarah that she can trust her husband, John uses planks to block the cellar's entrance and nails it shut. John is greatly relieved when HR calls him the following day to let him know that he has been cleared of all charges. His boss later congratulates him on his return to work and notes that Alyssa has taken time off, saying she's concentrating on self-care. John freaks out when he sees a bullet embedded in the wall while the couple is decorating the nursery in the evening. He tells Sarah that Emmett's wife and daughter vanished 25 years ago, implying that he might have killed them, and he wants to call the police. However, Sarah maintains that there must be a plausible explanation and believes he is making snap judgments. John grudgingly consents to drop the issue when she says she doesn't want to ruin their idyllic life. The action then shifts to a few days later, when John asks a coworker what happened after noticing police officers in his office. As it happens, Alyssa's car was discovered abandoned, and she is currently listed as missing. In the meantime, Sarah is chatting about the former occupants of the house at a bar with a neighbor. The woman informs her that the house has had numerous owners over the years, but each one eventually moved out without giving a reason. She adds that she has been seeing John frequently during his runs over the last few weeks. Sarah is shocked because he was meant to be at work at that time, and she notices a news report about Alyssa on the TV. Sarah checks John's laptop that evening while he's taking a shower and discovers an email from HR about Alyssa's accusation against him. Additionally, she finds Alyssa's calls on her husband's phone, which makes her suspicious. Later, John discovers that the bullet he discovered in the wall was fired from an antique pistol in Emmett's collection, which causes him distress. When he tells Sarah about this the following morning, she won't listen and worries that they might lose the house. She doesn't think Emmett could have hidden bodies in the cellar and hurt his family. A doorbell interrupts their conversation at that moment, and it turns out that two detectives are looking into Alyssa's disappearance. When they ask to talk to John alone, he tells them about the harassment accusations and his previous relationship with Alyssa. He doesn't disclose their affair, but he does tell them about their encounter in the parking lot. The investigators then disclose that on the day Alyssa vanished, her phone rang close to their house. Sarah, who has been listening, intervenes when they ask if anyone can verify John's whereabouts that day. When she says that her husband was with her all day, the detectives leave without asking any more questions. John then tries to explain everything to his wife, but she says she knows he has been unfaithful and feels deceived. She asserts, however, that she lied to the detectives for the benefit of their unborn child rather than for him. John can't stop thinking about the cellar in the evening, and he starts to believe that it is concealing something sinister. The following day, he locates Paul McManus's new address and heads over there right away. He is shocked to learn that Paul is the same crazy person who interrupted their housewarming celebration. It turns out that Paul is struggling to deal with his divorce and is now an alcoholic. He says that initially, the house appeared to be an ideal life at a very low cost, but eventually, everything started to fall apart. Though he doesn't think John is really prepared to discover the secret, he tells him to open the cellar. When John gets home, he wants to open the cellar door, but Sarah won't, and they get into a furious fight. Ultimately, despite his wife's attempts to stop him, John takes a crowbar and opens the door. When John eventually drops the crowbar, Sarah takes advantage of the moment to pick it up and use it to render him unconscious. When John awakens later on the living room couch, Sarah informs him that she was unable to allow him to open the cellar door. In a startling turn of events, she then reveals Alyssa's phone to her husband, who is appalled. A flashback reveals that Sarah had confronted Alyssa in the nursery, pointing a gun at her and telling her to leave. Sarah didn't deserve it, according to Alyssa, who claimed that everything there should have been hers. Sarah shot Alyssa in a fit of rage, and when she didn't die, she strangled her. The body was then wrapped and concealed in the crawl space leading to the cellar. John had been pursuing his wife, not Alyssa, after she drove Alyssa's car away. Sarah left the car in a remote location, uploaded some photos from Alyssa's phone, and emailed her employer to request time off. In the present, John is shocked to learn all of this and chooses to report his wife to the police while promising to find her a competent attorney. Surprisingly, though, she now points a gun at him and threatens to frame him for the crime if he does. He was the one who nailed shut the crawl space where Alyssa is buried, making him an ideal suspect for the police. Sarah explains that she will testify that John killed Alyssa and that she didn't realize the truth until she discovered Alyssa's phone among John's possessions. When she attempted to confront him, he attacked her, forcing her to shoot him in self-defense. She does, however, add that they can carry on with their ideal life if he consents to remain silent, and she views this as a minor sacrifice in return for the life she has always desired. John is now faced with a moral dilemma and must decide what to do. A few weeks later, the scene shifts to a baby shower at the mansion, where John is also present, indicating that he has ultimately chosen to keep quiet. The couple discovers a letter from Emmett among the presents, in which he thanks them for converting the building into a family estate. It is entirely up to the couple whether or not to use Emmett's gift, which is a key to the cellar. Emmett is certain, though, that the couple already knows what's inside. However, Alyssa placed that body there long after Paul and Emmett had lived there. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.